Boom, I'm finally live. Sorry about that. I was having a problem. My PC USB camera wasn't getting recognized by the capture software. I had to reboot twice. It happens. I don't know. There's always something. I hope you guys are all well. Good to see you guys. My throat's actually still is a little bit sore, so it's probably good that it was actually cut a little bit short tonight. That said, great to see all of you guys and lots of familiar faces. Thank you for all the likes before the show. That's always nice to have as well. I've got lots of great topics for you tonight to go through. I've got a little bit of a track that I actually just made in like 5 minutes before all of this. And great to see. Look at all these people here. You've got Mr. Cordy Chep, Nippon Culture Quest, Cran, Gilferand, Robert 1967 Canada, Phil Nolan, Hemingford Gray 62, Phoenix 787. We've got Lara who just arrived in Japan. Welcome to Japan, Lara. Great to see you. Foghart, great to see you. And we are finally going. We get there in the end. Hey, Ronnie in Japan. Typical, great to see you. Another New Zealander, great to see a New Zealander. And Charlie no Seikatsu, great to see you on last night as well as tonight. And yes, bourbon probably is what I need. I guess I'll just go with the vodka. It's not really vodka, but you know, it'll do. Use your imaginations. So yes, let's dive in. And thank you for that like there, Phoenix. And Razel Cool, who was the first one in there as well. Great to see you. And I'd still like to get you on for a video sometime. So our first topic is Tokyo killing the rest of Japan. Well, this is the old... Hey, Barringer, great to see you. This is the old one about... is Tokyo taking all the people away from these towns which are dying because of lack of people? And a bit of a discussion here in Japan Times about that phenomenon, and particularly people who want to try to boost Osaka as number 2. Every city in Japan is getting smaller except for except for Tokyo. And even though Tokyo has the lowest birth rate of any city in Japan, so it's all actually people coming to Tokyo and not having children, which is indeed a bit of a problem both for the national population and for the areas that lose their population. But it's because Tokyo is kind of so awesome. There's a bit of an in-depth thing here from the Japan Times. What I found really interesting was the historic rise. So basically from when Tokyo became the capital, from when it was Edo, the population growth, it was already like 3.5 million people apparently in 1945, 11 million people by 1970, 2010, and this is kind of important. The actual metropolitan area, which is kind of random and it's within the contiguous Tokyo, is it's only 13 million people. But if you count all the suburbs around Tokyo that really are part of Tokyo, they're just administratively different, then you rapidly get to like 25 million people or more from the Tokyo environment. So yeah, the Tokyo population gets very big very fast. It's a bit blindingly white, so I'm going to try to turn that down. So this I got this lamp because it is adjustable and because it is bright, but it's a little bit too bright, isn't it? So yeah, it's but the thing about Tokyo is that there is just you can do anything here, you know, and Osaka is trying to get some of that attention, but it's not so much working. So some good news here. Again, the government is trying to promote hotels to be more foreigner friendly, and hotels that want to spend on upgrading their facilities, you know, English language, just stuff to make themselves more convenient for foreigners. Apparently they will get government subsidies going forward. All working, I guess, towards 2019 with the Rugby World Cup and the Olympics in 2020. So good to see. And Lara, yeah, great to hear that you're enjoying Japan, by the way. The next one is Words of the Year. This was announced this week. A bunch of Japanese sites announced it, but there's a good article in English on Japan.com talking about this. By the way, I want to save myself some bandwidth by just pausing the video. Boom. So the winning words. And it was interesting this year because the main one was a baseball term which I had never heard. It was called they called it 333, and it's because of three. Here we go. Apparently there was there were 3 players who managed to hit better than 300 and hit at least 30 home runs and take 30 stolen bases. So there was like this kind of freakish baseball thing. So triple three is what they say, but you pronounce it triple three. Oh yeah. I just want to also shout out, as Sunai reminds me, for all the people who took the JLPT today, the Japanese language proficiency exam. I know a lot of you guys were doing that today. Otsukaresama desu. I know you guys are now going to forget everything that you've learned for the last few months. But yes, indeed, enjoy the relaxation having taken that exam. That exam, it's not sure. It's like all exams. How much does it really judge how good you are at the language? I get that, but it's important. It's a piece of proof of all the hard work that you've done to learn. So for all of you guys who said it, indeed, Sunai taking the N2, that's a tough exam. All the best with that, and otsukaresama desu. Also good to see Wildfire 777. Kanyo are anti-Kansai. Well, yeah, I mean, all the Kanyo are in Tokyo, so they're a bit Tokyo-centric. There again, all the regional politicians, they disproportionately spend money in the regions to get votes and so on. So Charlie no Seikatsu, his brain felt like soup afterwards. That's why I think Charlie mentioned he was taking the M3, I recall, which is a pretty tough exam for 1 year in Japan. Sunai taking the M2, that's a really tough exam. That's great if you can get that. But anyway, congrats to everybody who's done that. Coming back to the winning words, triple three as word of the year, I really didn't know about, but there it is, it's there. I guess it's just because I don't follow baseball. However, bakugai, explosive buying, describing the phenomenon of basically busloads of Chinese tourists coming into shops and just literally buying all the toilet paper, all the baby milk, all the basically cleaning out the shops that they're coming in. Because my Chinese friends explain this, it's not just that there are rich Chinese, which there are rich Chinese, but when some Chinese go to Japan, they collect money from all of their friends and they come and do the shopping for all of their friends. So yes, this bakugai, explosive buying, is this thing where they come in and it's caught retailers in Japan completely off guard. But there again, just stock up and so that you've got more of the stuff, right? Yeah, it's been in a time when the economy's been contracting and shrinking. This phenomenon of these waves of Chinese tourists in particular coming in and just buying up all the toilet seats, all the baby milk, all the all the stuff that the rice cookers, all the stuff to take back to China. Mr. Kordychev, what is wrong with the toilet paper in China? Well, the thing is, everything here. In fact, it's not so much toilet paper actually. It is babies' nappies. Japanese babies' nappies are the best in the world. Even going back to Australia, Japanese mothers complain that it's like wrapping a cardboard box around your kid, using the ones in Australia. They're just very comfortable and well made and so on, and it's really tough on the kids going to less well made nappies. So yeah, the baby milk here is considered high quality and safe. The nappies are considered the best in the world. The rice cookers, of course, are good, you can imagine. So and no, it does not disintegrate the moment you use it. Apparently, I mean, again, I used a lot of nappies here, so I know about that. But yes, indeed, the bakugai is the really big one. The runners-up. Some of these I'm actually reading for the first time, so I'm reading them off the screen. Abe seiji o yurusanai, no forgiving the politics, or the government of Abe, which is a big catchword from all of the protests that we're having. As usual, there's some convenient. There's some comedian who's got some sort of catchphrase. I don't know. People just don't watch variety TV as much anymore. But for what it's worth, the TV catchphrase of the year is "Anshin shite kudasai, haitemasu yo," which is this guy who's good at making it look like he's not wearing any pants, but then showing that he is wearing these skimpy pants. And it's saying, "Relax, I am wearing underwear." That's his catchphrase. Made it up there. So I must admit, bakugai is definitely a worthy word of the year, but I think it's been a pretty thin year for new cultural phrases. Emblem is a big catchword because of the scandal around the Olympic emblem. So there you go, that's one. No, I do not use the nappies myself, if you're asking that to me, Lara, but if it did ever come to that, I would want Japanese ones. What else have we got here? We have Ichioku Soukatsu Yaku Shakai. Yeah, that's the new government ministry for 100 million active people, which is a bit confusing. There's the Goromaru pose, the rugby before he kicks. He always does this kind of control position pose that everyone like to imitate. Shields, the youth protest movement. Drone, another new word. So yeah, a lot of these words. These are popular kind of catchphrases from the media this year. I don't know this one. Mainichi Shuzo, a tennis player, apparently encourages people with this phrase. But anyway, it's a good list, and you can check it out there from nippon.com, which is a great site for information. Someone asked me this week, who was it? It was Sean something. Anyway, I got asked a question on Twitter. My advice for setting up if I could set up an apartment as a mini YouTube studio, what would I do? And so I wrote down all of my ideas. Hey Andy, yeah. In fact, if you want to search for that underwear guy on YouTube, I should tell you his name. Where is it? Haitemasyo. If you just looked up Haitemasyo, you'd probably find it. But where is it? His name is Tonikaku Akarui Yasumura. Well, that's kind of a long name, but Tonikaku Akarui Yasumura. Look up Yasumura and Haitemasyo, you'll find him. So my tips for setting up, if I had free reign to set up an apartment as a studio, what would I suggest? I give all my advice pretty much for what I would do if I had the freedom to set up a studio, which I don't. But the main thing is that the main difference between setting up a studio room as opposed to like a normal office with a desk or a sofa is that, like, where a desk normally you face outward to the wall or the window, for a studio you want to face the camera, which means and you want to face the lighting, which, given that every Japan room has an omni light in the middle of the room, and other lamps, it means that you want to be facing inwards towards the middle of the room, not facing with your back, because otherwise you'll be a silhouette. So the layout is a little bit different. But basically I go through soundproofing, different sort of mics, backgrounds, sort of basics about just how to position your furniture and stuff like that, as well as what you can do if you want to get really serious in terms of the idea about shooting. I shoot perpendicular to my room, not long ways on the room, so that the background doesn't look like a tunnel. You don't want to do that. No, please don't give me nappies for Christmas. Thank you for the kind offer, but don't do that. Don't paint your room green. I think Victor did that, and I don't think he shoots many chroma key videos, but he has a green room. Probably not what you want. Equipment, make sure that you've got a PC big enough to handle all the quality of stuff that you want to be shooting there. All this other stuff, so that's on my Facebook notes. You can find, I've got the link in there anyway. You can go and check out my tips if you are thinking for ideas about setting up a new apartment or a new room as a YouTube studio, or for recording stuff like this. By the way, just for lamps, Phoenix, you're asking, I use just IKEA lamps, just they hardly take up any space on the desk. I did get a flash one from Big Camera, but I'm not sure that it's really working out that well. The 7 most overrated things to do in Tokyo. Tokyo Skytree. Well, I haven't been there yet, but indeed, given the price and the waiting list and all that sort of stuff, I probably agree. People say this is a great checklist, by the way. And what I like about this checklist is it doesn't just correctly list out what's overrated, but it also gives good alternatives. Like, for example, go to the Shinjuku Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building, which is free, just as tall, and actually has a better view. Golden Gai. I only went to Golden Gai for the first time recently, and it is very touristy now, and I can imagine it was probably better when it wasn't so touristy. But I think it's still okay, it's worth going to, but definitely Harmonica Alley in Kichijoji or Ebisu Yokocho are also very, very cool. Tokyo Disneyland, and again, lots of queues, kind of expensive, unless you're really hardcore into Disneyland. I've been there, but 15 years ago, and I haven't been back. Maid cafes, I don't know that they were ever properly, they've always been overrated. Sanrio Puroland, again, I've never been to Sanrio Land, so I don't know, but the Ghibli Museum is indeed a great suggestion. Lots of these theme bars. I know some of them have been going a little bit crazy lately. But indeed, in Takeshita Dori, if you want to go and find the sort of Harajuku culture that you hear being sung about in pop music and so on, people used to say, and it used to be correct to go to Takeshita Dori, but I don't know, it's too crowded, there's too much going on, and yeah, you're probably better to go into the other back streets of Harajuku for that. So that's a good list with some good suggestions there. It's a nice little blog. Golden Guy is right in between Shinjuku Sanchome and Nichome. So if you go to Shinjuku Sanchome station and you walk towards Shinjuku Gyoen, towards the gay district in Shinjuku Nichome, it is actually in between, and it's kind of hidden away. You should Google it, because I've been around Shinjuku a lot, and it surprised me that I'd never come across it actually. But it's pretty cool. I actually recently met with Amanda and a special secret guest a wee while ago there. It was pretty good, who was visiting Japan. So there is another story here, the first ever ramen restaurant to receive a Michelin star. Some people were mocking it, saying that now the Kanda Burger King is also going to get a Michelin star. I think the reason, when you read about the restaurant, it only seats 9 people. I imagine it's going to be impossible to book from now on. But very, very standard looking sort of a place. But I think what the point is that the ingredients are very much, they use Italian black truffle oil and red wine. They make just a special broth with salt from Inner Mongolia. Just very, very particular ingredients. That said, the price is quite reasonable. I personally don't go for the shoyu type ramen like this. You see a picture here. I'm sure for this the ingredients are going to be great and it is going to be worth it, but for me personally, I like the really kind of tonkotsu type, the thick sort of brothy ramen. But there we go, this is pretty cool. By the way, it's nice to see some names there. Shiro-kun, not one that a name I don't recognize so much, so it's nice to see you posting. Ahmed Osul, who I will remember correctly from now on always, is in Algeria. Very good to see you on tonight. 071, great to see you. Mr. Cordyche, barn truffles from France. I don't know. I think truffles can be from Italy or whatever. I don't think they're region specific. In fact, I'm pretty sure you can actually get truffles from. Indeed, we have an Italian representative here with Laura. But I think you can actually even get them in North Korea. Like North Korea tried selling truffles for a while. I think you can even get them in Japan. But anyway, yeah, same. The thing with Tokyo in particular, once you give them Michelin stars, it's kind of a kiss of death. You can no longer book them. It kind of ruins them. There were some places which I knew about, which I ate at, that became Michelin, and you couldn't go to anymore. I'd rather have in that respect, I think Mensho in Korakuen, it is my best, my favorite ramen place in Tokyo. And it is shokunin, it's artisan ramen, and I really hope that they never get a Michelin star, because I want to be able to keep going there. What else we got here? We got this week we had a pretty good show actually. My monthly roundup with Steve Miller of What's Up Asia. Steve Miller from Asia News Weekly. He's like chairman now of the Asian American Journalists Association. His podcast is kicking ass, and he's a really, really knowledgeable guy about news, so it's great to talk about not just Japan, but how Japan works with Korea and China and everything in the news. And yeah, we always have a really good chat. This last show was a really good one actually, so if you want to catch up on Japan news, or Asian news more broadly, check out What's Up Asia. It's only once a month, the first Wednesday every month, and we are taking a break for January, so we won't be back until February. But we did a pretty good show. I've got to update the thumbnail for that actually, by the looks of it. But in fact, I think I'm in the same clothes as I was before. This is really warm. I like this. I've got YouTube one of these, which I should be wearing, I guess. But anyway, that was pretty good. So check that out. Check this out. Boom. I'm actually editing as we speak. I've closed it down in order to save memory while I'm recording this. But yes, indeed. Dan Scassa, by the way, very good to meet you for lunch the other day. A wee while ago now, but yeah, good to see you, and good to see you in Japan. So Japan Business Time with Rochelle Kopp. It is awesome. I'm just trying to I'm trying to level up the presentation a little bit. Rochelle and I shot the series in a green studio. It was because it was the only studio available. But since we've done it, I'm actually trying to make it look kind of cool and make it, take it to the next level a little bit. I actually shared the intro video that I made on Facebook earlier today, so you can check that out if you follow me on Facebook, which is all public. Yeah, a big shout out to I have to remember the name of the person who drew Rochelle's character. Rochelle's character she uses on her books and stuff like that. But of course, Nikki Archer Pugcham is responsible for the rest of that drawing and the rest of that graphic, which I've taken full advantage of for the titles. There are going to be 8 episodes based on questions, Japan business related questions from the last series, and it came out really, really well. I mean, I can't. For me, I just love watching it while I'm editing. I get distracted because the conversations are that good. I guess this is going to have episodes coming up. Probably, I don't want to put them up like at Christmas because I know no one's going to watch them. If I can get one up in the next week, it might not start until January at this point. We'll see. I might be able to get one going next week and get 1 or 2 episodes before Christmas and then leave a break. I think given that it is business time, I will have to put it on Wednesdays because Wednesdays are business time according to the song. I guess I will, yes, I'm going to make sure I will be wearing my business socks in every single episode. It'll be pretty cool. So, Ahmed is asking, am I going to watch Star Wars 7 the first day it's out? The first day it's out is a Friday, so I won't be able to do that. But I will be, hey, Finn, good to see you. Finn is at Demaster. I'm wondering, it was very good also catching up with Demaster the other day. And yes, I do get distracted by his sexy voice, whoever voices that is. Hey, Min Huang, great to see you. Yes, you are on TV indeed, Min. Good to have you along. Star Wars, I'm going to go and check it out probably when I get to Australia, which will be from December 22. So that will be good. Might see. I don't know if they're going to show it on the plane. I don't want to watch it on the plane anyway. I want to watch it at a movie theatre, so I'll definitely watch it, but not from the first day. I get distracted by my own sexy voice, by the way. Oh, Steve Miller. Steve Miller has a sexy voice. That's true. If you watch What's Up Asia for no other reason, watch it for Steve Miller's sexy voice. He's got one of those voices. This is just random, but ran into this. There's Star Wars stuff everywhere at the moment. Japan has gone Star Wars crazy, and there happens to be a brand of chocolate run by Morinaga called Das, which is pronounced Das, which is the same way that in Japanese that you pronounce Darth. So they actually have the Dark Lord Das, give yourself to the Das. It's quite cool. This is like the most convenient. I mean, it's like they've been building up for 20 years for this to actually happen. Nobody still wash your mouth out. But anyway, Star Wars stuff everywhere in Japan at the moment. It's going crazy. It's going to be huge. This is just kind of interesting. Facebook it looks like is going to enable. Hey, Herb Toka, good to see you. It looks like Facebook is going to enable live hangouts like this. I don't know. I guess that's only going to be for famous or beautiful people. I'm not expecting it myself, but it is interesting that they are trying to offer some competition. What I would hope is at least if they're gonna, the fact that they're offering it from iOS, whatever features they offer, hopefully it will push YouTube to offer some more convenience with the hangouts that we use. It's starting with being able to do these from iOS as well, perhaps. And yes, indeed, Rocket News, Kran News, that's right, the 7-Eleven Star Wars promo, the 7-Eleven, all of them have heaps of stuff. With YouTube Red, see, I said from the very beginning this made sense if they were going to get like content that I would want to be willing to pay for, which would be commercial content, which would logically mean that they are going to be like a Netflix competitor, which would be good. I would actually like that, and that's what I said in the beginning. YouTube came out and categorically denied that they were looking to compete with Netflix. Now, a month later, they're saying, okay, we are going to compete with Netflix. They are going to provide TV shows for a subscription service, which is fine. I wish they would offer this here. I would pay. I would sign up and pay up for this just because, one, I would get satisfaction knowing that the videos that I watch are getting more support because I'm watching, because I pay. And I like all the perks. I like all the features. So, I can't wait for them to release YouTube Red in Japan, and if it means I'm going to get like content that I would have to pay for on another service, yeah, why not? So I'm cool with this actually. I really hope they hurry up and roll out Red in Japan. Another thing, I don't know if I've put it in here actually, but they actually enabled like crowdsourcing of subtitles on all videos, I think, this week. So I know that Ami Yamato and Charlotte in Japan, some people were using that, and they got some really cool ones. They got some Indonesian subtitles, stuff like that. I will come back and I'll probably start enabling all my videos in like an hour lately, so it'd be too much to really subtitle. You're on in Japan, well there you go. So you're happy you got it. I'm kind of curious, and put in the comments like what you like about it. For me, just the fact that I know that I'm supporting people more by watching them, that in itself for me is enough. Actually, that I would subscribe to Red. But yeah, the subs thing is pretty cool, and hopefully on things like the business time videos, for example, that'd be great if guys, for example, if Ahmed, if you ever have any free time and want to put Arabic or French subtitles on those videos, that would be, actually that'd be rad. But you know, that's what it's there for. It's there for people who want to help make videos more accessible to people in different countries. And hell, you know, if you guys like Ahmed, for example, want to show, you know, what you're interested in, what, you know, what my thing is, it'd be kind of cool. So I think that's a great feature. This is kind of cool and very true from what I gather, and it sounds like it hasn't changed much from my time. 5 ways that college life is different in Japan and the United States, and I'll probably say New Zealand is pretty much the same here as well. This is an interesting, I hadn't thought about this first one, but fashion. New Zealand's probably more like America. People dress down a lot at college. The comment here is that because Japanese are forced to wear school uniforms, they tend to dress up a bit and try to look flash when they're at university in Japan. They don't dress down so much, so that's one difference. Another big difference is the importance of clubs, circles as they call them in Japan. You know, I don't think I did anything like that at you know, at university. You know, the sports teams tend to be pretty serious. So that is probably true as well. The Japanese take their clubs very seriously. Academic pressure, there is none. There's a lot to get into college, but none once you get in Japan. Well, that's an overstatement, but it's generally pretty true. Whereas with you know, American colleges, you know, and New Zealand as well, the study requirements to stay in college are pretty high. So that is true. Living arrangements. Most Japanese who go to university live alone in small cheap apartments where they can live by themselves. You know, whereas it's normal that you share accommodation in Western universities. I've actually read, I've never found a good source for this, but I've read a kind of conspiracy theory around this, that how should I put this? There was this huge, you know, kind of student left-wing movement, a bit like SEALs today, in the 1960s and 70s, you know, from which sprung things like the Red Army, you know, the groups which shut down the University of Tokyo for a couple of years, caused major political riots and so on. And these political groups formed within the student dorms of these big universities. And typically the right-wing sort of thugs that would come and fight with them and have these riots against them, supporting the police, then the right-wing groups, were from construction companies. And apparently what I've heard is that there was a policy of from the government of trying to break up these kind of student movements by getting rid of the collective living of the dorms and building lots of affordable, cheap, single-person apartments. And that's why, to this day, apparently, Tokyo and Japan has so much convenient, like, single-person accommodation. It was actually deliberate, and it was aimed at breaking up student protests. I mean, overall, structurally, over a longer period of time. And it's been very successful in that regard. In fact, the only problem I think you've got from it is that Japanese, because they don't have to live with other people till they get married, it actually discourages people from wanting to get married and be around other people, because it's freaking awesome living alone. Or I thought it was when I was living by myself. It's one thing I like about living in Tokyo. The living, having your own place, your own space was pretty cool. Class participation is low in Japan. It's low in New Zealand as well, actually, but and high in America. So 5 differences, and you know, it's pretty accurate. Nice little Rocket News article there. 071, thank you for sharing that you like anatomically correct snowmen. We don't have enough snow in New Zealand, I guess, for that sort of thing. But congratulations where you are. This is, oh, here we go. Awaken the need for your random Star Wars stuff with 7-Eleven and Ichiban Kuji. I mean, everything. These are actual Star Wars related prizes, but there's all sorts of Star Wars merchandising happening at the moment. So that is awesome. Yeah, I mean, Japan is just going Star Wars crazy. Don't forget, Japan invented Star Wars. What is it? The something Fortress, the Dark Fortress, or something like that. Right, is the movie that the original Star Wars movie was based on, which I still haven't seen. Actually, I should watch that. But yes, indeed. Every year at this time of year, the same site, Colis.com, releases a huge list of 207, or of hundreds, dozens of Japanese fonts, and all pretty cool ones. So there's a new list for 2016 that just came out this week, and these are full kanji. Not all of them, but most of them are kanji and other fonts. But all free, free fonts. A 207 font free font list for Japanese fonts. If you Hidden Fortress, thank you, Chrome. You all know how much I love fonts, so and this is the early Christmas. So check that link out. Fill your boots with all the fonts that you want. Saihatsuboshi. This is written by Rochelle Kopp, and we actually talked about this in our new series. When we have an episode on what happens when shit goes down in Japan. I was actually very impressed that she actually said the word shit. I found it kind of exciting. And she mentioned Saihatsuboshi, which is prevention of recurrences, which is a principle of what you do when you recover from a big disaster. So she mentions that. That's pretty good. There was this kerfuffle, I think I mentioned last week, that it turned out the person who put a bomb in the toilets in Yasukuni, the police think that they've got identified as a Korean tourist who apparently left Japan immediately after he did it. He said it went off 30 minutes later. He went straight to his hotel and then the airport, and he went back to Korea. And it's a little bit interesting because there was a Chinese tourist, I think, who about a year ago now threw a Molotov cocktail or something like that, petrol bomb or something, at the door, at one of the wooden doors on Yasukuni, and burned the door. It was, treated as an act of vandalism rather than arson. Although I think they kind of treated it as arson as well. But for this Chinese person, for some reason, didn't go to China. He went to Korea, and when police asked for extradition or arrest in Korea, the Korean court said that an attack on Yasukuni Shrine isn't a normal crime. It's a political crime, so it's exempt from extradition because it's he's a political asylum seeker. So it's kind of interesting. The Korean court said if you do something to Yasukuni Shrine, the Korean courts won't prosecute you. I guess we're going to find out again now, because we've got a guy here who's put a bomb inside. Again, no one hurt, not really any serious damage done. It was inside a toilet. But hey, Louis Lewis, good to see you. Welcome, another new name. So this is a Korean guy who's apparently gone back to Korea. And I don't know that the police have even put in a request for his arrest or anything yet, but it'll be interesting to see if the courts cooperate. In the meantime, the Korean government, after finding out that the guy who bombed the shrine was Korean, and instead of kind of apologizing, they've issued like a public, like a warning to all Koreans visiting Japan to stay away from right-wing groups and Yasukuni Shrine. I.e., they issued a warning that it's not safe for them at Yasukuni Shrine. Which is a little bit backwards, given that this is their reaction to a Korean person leaving a bomb at the shrine. They've issued a warning to stay away because it's not safe. There are a lot of very right-wing and unpleasant comments here, including don't come to Japan in the first place, but a lot of people talking about this is the the guilty parties trying to flip it around and make themselves out as the victim. And a lot of angry, responsive comments. It is a little bit strange. But that is that. Check this out. Japan is rocking into the 1990s. I remember in the 1990s in New Zealand, when we got FPOS, I could pay for something at a petrol station and ask for $60 cash as well, and you would pay for the cash back and the goods or whatever. In Japan, they don't really have that system, but you will be able to soon in Japan. They plan to be rolling out from 2017 that you would be able to go to a shop or a supermarket where you can use your ATM card and take out money as well as pay for goods. Yeah, that will be Japan catching up to 25 years ago. Congratulations, it would be awesome. Yeah, this is the thing about the restroom blast has returned to South Korea. There is a little bit of an article here from Yomiuri on there's been a long kind of campaign, a constitutional campaign from women who want the right to in Japan when two Japanese people marry, you have this family registration system where the whole family history is kept on a register, and when families merge, like when a woman marries a man, the woman's register is merged with the man's register by default, unless they apply to do otherwise. By default, the woman's name is deleted, and by default her family register is moved over to the man's, and this is a problem for a lot of women who want at least the option of, for example, having a hyphen name. Like again, in Western countries, sometimes people just use separate names. A lot of women who are now working and are, very economically independent and successful in business. 071, do I look like Max Headroom? I love to look like Max Headroom. I guess I get all twitchy and so on. When my connection is not very good, I guess I go a little bit Max Headroom. I love that series, and actually I like the guy who played that. But anyway, so there's actually, like, for example, the long-time minister or leader of the Social Democrats Party in Japan has children and a partner who she refuses to marry because she is opposed to the law that requires her to change her last name. That said, I know some guys, Japanese guys, who've married women and taken the woman's family's last name. Sometimes it happens when the woman's family is richer, or it's to take over the family business. Or in the case of some of my friends, they just don't like their own parents and they wanted to get rid of the name. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Like it's automatic and it's mandatory, but only, of course, if you marry someone with a Japanese family register. It doesn't happen if you marry a foreigner. So I've always just said they should just marry foreigners, because my wife's name didn't change automatically. She got to keep her maiden name when she married me, and it was actually to share the last names eventually when we had my son. It was a big deal to go to the family court and apply to change it, which she still complains about. And it is a big pain, of course, to have your name changed on you. Yeah. I think we talked about this last time. So Shake Shack has opened up in Gaenmai, and Carl's Jr. is also coming to Japan with the first shop to be in Akihabara. So I don't know, is Carl's Jr. any good? How is Carl's Jr. versus Shake Shack versus Burger King? People who know, tell me. Anyone who told me that Taco Bell was good is not going to be taken seriously in their responses. There are now 2.17 million foreigners living in Japan, with a lot of Vietnamese apparently and Nepalese coming, apparently now arriving in rates as much as Chinese. Nice little thing here on Wired.com, indeed pointing out Japanese barely eat well, so why do they keep whaling? It kind of fundamentally comes down to it. This is a good article, and it talks about fundamentally. There's a couple of things. One, the people who promote it, who are in government, are elderly who ate it after World War II, when the Americans encouraged Japanese to get more protein after World War II, and they started out with whale meat. So a lot of the elderly people remember whale meat fondly, and they promote it and they defend it, as happens with a lot of government ministers. But basically, it's just they think it's just kind of dickish that Westerners are telling them what food they can eat and not eat, especially where, like in the case of minke whales, they're not endangered. It's a bit like telling Indians, as Indians are actually lately doing now. They're actually enforcing not eating cow rules on Muslims there, and there was a case recently where some Muslims were killed on suspicion of killing a cow. So it looks like they are actually. We always said, Indians don't do this, but lately they do. It's cultural, and they don't like the cultural imperialism aspect of it. But that said, even then, it's not worth all the damage it causes Japan's image, and no one eats whale. No one eats it, so it is a waste of time, and it's a good article. It's a photo I took the other day with some nice puffy clouds. I love in wintertime in Japan that the skies are so clear. If you haven't seen this series, Belated Media, he's done two. There's a third one coming up. Where he plays, if he was a Fox Studio exec, and George Lucas was pitching his script for Phantom Menace and the second movie, whatever the title was for that. And basically, if he was pitched that script, how he would have fixed it up as a script executive. And it's genius. You're listening to it and it's like, damn, I wish he could run making a remake of that movie and fixing it. And he's done it for episodes 1 and 2, and they come out sounding epic. Actually, I love a lot of the changes that he does. So yeah, he actually manages to articulately make Phantom Menace sound good. So worth a watch. It's remarkable. And I love the idea about integrating. Well, one, I like the idea about the playoff between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in the first episode, and then in the second episode, how that becomes a love rivalry over Padme, and how they integrate the uncle, who they just totally ignored, in the prequels. So how they got the brother. All sorts of great things going on there. I love that. Last night we had Charlie no Seikatsu on. I guess I've got to put a thumbnail on for that as well. Great to have Charlie on. Thank you, Joe. It was a good show. And yeah, check that out. That is up just from last night, so it's pretty much there. This is from Shoot Tokyo. Actually, he's giving a shout out to all the people taking the Japan language proficiency test today. He himself is using Wanikani, but not taking that. Rashokop mentioned that there are these canoeing tours now. Tokyo is of course full of canals. It used to be based not on highways but on canals everywhere. And yes, there are these. Now you can go canoeing and go on these canoe tours around the canals in Tokyo. When I heard that, I thought, well, it sounds really cool, but I'm still not sure that the water is that clean. I'd be a little bit worried about the smell and so on, but people have done it, have said it was awesome, and the water quality has gotten a lot better recently. I wouldn't go diving in the canals, but canoeing at night around Tokyo, I imagine that would be pretty cool. So yeah, and Ron in Japan, thanks for watching and enjoying What's Up Asia. I'm glad that you liked it. I like that as well. In fact, I thought the show last night with Charlie was really good as well. So it is always good to have guests on. I love this. So, contrast America, where you can have a mass shooting where 14 people are killed and more than 20 people are shot and injured. And, they don't know for a few days. They're not even sure whether it was a terrorist attack or not because, workplace shootings there and mass shootings are so common. They don't know if it's a normal mass shooting or not. And think about what news was being missed. And then bear in mind this story in Aichi Prefecture, where 20 police cars and a police helicopter chased a shoplifter for 40 kilometers and they lost him. So, welcome to Japan. In Japan, shoplifting will get you 20 police cars and a helicopter. The commenters were impressed that someone could get away from a helicopter and 20 police cars, and they asked maybe it's Lupin the Third, a popular thief anime character. Lupin! But, damn, they chased down a shoplifter with 20 cars and a helicopter, and they lost him. So that is great news. KNS TV, hey, watching. If you're drunk now, well, I am wrapping up. Actually, I don't know how much more I've got to go. I'm gonna put on some music soon. I love this. Microsoft wants you to make your dream HoloLens app. I think they want to make my dream HoloLens app, which I have. Which is, I want a virtual studio, like for making music or for video editing or whatever. That's what I want to get a HoloLens for. So I'm going to send in an idea for that if I get the time. I think that's brilliant that they're offering to have people send in ideas for apps for them to make. And that is the end of the topics. I do have... You know what? I only had 15 minutes, so I started queuing up a track, and it actually sounded kind of nice. So I'll show you what I made, and I might build this up into a track later, but tell me what you think of the sound. Let me turn that up. Let me... Boom. Let me get the camera on this going. And I'll show you the elements. Bit of a Latin beat. Phoenix, this took me about 5 minutes, and I'm still just sketching at the moment. I'm going to build this out some more. Anyway, that's what I'm sketching out. I think I'm going to build this out some more, but it sounds pretty good. Phil Nolan, I'm glad that your cat likes it. So I guess I'll name that and build that out a little bit later. But this is the IK Oscillator app from Korg on iOS. It's available iPhone, iPad. I love it. I am going to over Christmas try to learn the iMachine 2, which is also an awesome app that I am still learning at the moment. But this will be good when I get the hang of this. But yeah. What have I got in there right now? Let me turn this up a bit, see what I can get. But anyway, that's playing around. We are up on the top of the I'm quite digging the calculator track that I just made. So I will build this out, and you can catch this on my SoundCloud, which is also part of the Tokyo Digital crew, along with Nombiristo, who is in the comments, Fogheart, who is also in the comments, Chito Mokaran, who is often in the comments, and Ben Duncan, who is often in the comments. I will be using all of the members of the Tokyo Digital crew's music in my upcoming series of Japan Business Time, which look out for that. That will be ready pretty soon, pretty much. And I hope you guys all have a very good night. Have a good one. I hope you enjoyed the show. Remember to like if you liked, and have a good week. I'll catch you guys later. Okay, peace. It's just the outro. There it is. Stop streaming. Yes, I'm sure.